everyone. I'm Shobha Srivastava from Sharon's Public School, and today I'm going to discuss with you all about gamification for learning strategies that we will follow. So, some examples of that. What is gamifications? Gamifications in learning and why it is important. So, gamification is the process of using game elements in a non-game context. It has many advantages over traditional learning approaches, including increasing learner motivational levels and improving knowledge retention, better learner engagement through social mechanisms like badges, points, or leaderboards. In our modern world, technology is naturally a driving force behind learning and the development of curriculum. To achieve better results from learners, today's educators are increasingly utilizing cutting-edge digital tools and strategies in their teaching methods. Gamification for learning is one of these strategies used increasingly by our teachers around the world. Using gamified elements can positively impact the student engagement and collaboration, allowing them to learn more efficiently as a result. Gamification is about applying gaming strategies to improve learning and make it more engaging for individuals. Gamification for learning can be beneficial because games instill lifelong skills such as problem solving, critical thinking, social awareness, cooperation, and collaboration. Games also motivate individuals, increase interest in certain subjects, reduce the rate of attrition among learners, improve grades, and enhance their cognitive abilities. Did you know that global gamification markets estimate CAGR growth is 30% around $31 billion between 2020 and 2025 compared to 2019. So, in this article we will learn all about the gamifications, including practical strategies, some examples. So, we should know everything we need to get up and running with these contemporary learning strategies. Neuroscience of gamification. Gamification psychology is a field that studies the behavior of users in gamified systems. In other words, it focuses on how to understand and influence people's behavior. Through gaming methods, studies have shown that the brain works in harmony with gamification and that it triggers the release of dopamine, which gives players an increased feeling of motivation and enjoyment. But how exactly do they work together? Gamification connects people on an emotional level. Emotions can be powerful tool for learning. They help facilitate encoding and retrieval of information more effectively, making the learning process much more efficient. Gamification creates an emotional connection between the content and students. It strongly influences the individual's attention, which makes them more receptive of learning. This is receptive to learning. The hippocampus is the part of the brain that controls the amount of information we recall or remember. It's no surprise then that gamification helps students retain better what they have learned during classes. Gamification stimulates the hippocampal memory, which helps promote the storage of new information into long-term memory. Moreover, dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked with learning and memory, is also released from the hippocampus, which helps maintain focus on a task. Other is that stories are easier for the brain to process than facts. The brain processes stories more effectively than it does a string of facts. For this reason, storytelling is a fantastic way of delivering new information to students. Gamification greatly benefits from using this strategy, as games often include storytelling elements such as background, characters, plot twists, and more. Other is the point that game playing improves endorphin release. Endorphins are natural painkillers that improve relaxation, calm, and focus. They are naturally produced by the body while playing games and performing other engaging activities. Gamification strategies improve endorphin release, helping to create an environment ideal for focused learning. Next is playing games keeps your brain healthy. Pathways increase cognitive skills such as memory for attention, enhance creativity and problem solving skills, and help prevent age-related cognitive decline. Gamifications versus games. Game-based learning makes games a part for the learning process. It is an instructional method where students learn specific skills of knowledge from playing and actually. This type of learning takes educational content and transforms it into a game that students can play. On the other hand, gamification only makes use of game elements in a non-game context to enhance comprehension and promote better retention of information. The main goal is still to improve student engagement, but gamification does not necessarily aim to teach them something new. Strategies in gamification for learning. There are a variety of gamification strategies that we can incorporate into our learning environment. The most popular ones are point system. Assigning points for completing different tasks can encourage individuals to work hard. It also provides an accurate representation to their effort level to show how much they have progressed throughout the course or lesson. Badges. Second point is badges. Badges are a fantastic way to acknowledge and reward people for their efforts. A badge is an award given in the form of a virtual object or a pinned image on our profile. It is a fantastic way to show that we value the hard work and effort put into the task. Next is leaderboards. So leaderboards are great for creating competition among students, as they will want to see their name on top and work harder as a result. We can even create separate leaderboards based on different things, dividing the individuals into smaller groups for better competition. Next point is that challenges. A challenge is a task that requires an individual to complete something using their challenge can incorporate like learning strategies such as problem solving, where individuals need to think outside the box to develop a solution. Other gamification techniques or strategies include the element of surprise to keep it exciting and allow users to unlock certain features or content in the game by completing a task. Fun fact, gamified healthcare apps are one way to distract children from the fact that they are undergoing medical treatment. Examples of gamification in learning. Gamification helps improve the learning experiences in many ways, whether it is through academic, industrial, or a business contexts. In this section, we will take a look at a few of the most practical ways we can gamify learning. Gamification in education. There are several great examples of gamification in education that can help we form our own gamified teaching strategies. However, before dividing into two different examples, let's first we look at game elements we should consider in this school setting, like narrative, immediate feedback, fun, scaffolded learning with challenges that increase some progress indicators, for example points, badges, leaderboards, and social connections. Player control also. So we know that different elements we can use. Let's look some of the best examples. We can also help track progress and increase engagement, like the giving points for accomplishing non-academic objectives. We teachers can also reward non-academic objectives, like tidying up the classroom with points. This helps to motivate learners to meet both academic and non-academic goals, which encourages their overall success. Next is that reflect and personalized performance of the students. Reflecting on personalized performance helps the students identify and track their progress. It is a good way for learners to self-assess what they have learned, predict the outcomes of future behavior, and see how far they need to go to succeed. Using different methods of progression. For this, opting to use levels and checkpoints can help learners feel like they are progressing through the game. This makes them want to find out what happens next, which keeps their attention focused on learning. Provide the options to give badges rather than points. So the badges also work well then. It comes in motivating and encouraging the students. An effective alternative to points, badges are a great way to implement an element of competition into the classroom. They can also help create a sense of community and increase engagement in the classroom, which is fantastic for learning success. Use different platforms or applications. Using different platforms or application is a great way to keep our students engaged. We teachers can achieve student engagement through like tablets, smartphones and more to allow learners to access their learning resources anything and anywhere. Using technology in this manner help increase student engagement and motivation, which are both essentials for supporting effective learning. Some examples could be the following, like some other academies are there. Many of the academies like the Khan, the Lingo, Khabu, Google Pay, along apps are there. These they can use for that. And gamification is also helping business are also increasingly utilizing gamifications to improve employees' results by making the medium of daily work a fun and productive exercises. Some are the interactive leaderboards. Leaderboards are a great way to encouraging the employees also to keep improving. So these are the points of the gamification in business also. So gamification relevant only to learning? No, gamification can be applied to any activity or a goal that needs encouragement and motivation towards better performance, thus resulting in improved results for the individuals and their team. Who invented gamification and when did it start? So, Nick Perry, computer programmer and investigative writer, coined the term gamification in 2002. Do games really help us learn? Yes, the answer depends on how well designed the educational game is. In some cases, studies have shown that games help students learn better and faster compared or traditional teaching methods. The question is also like that how does gamification help in learning techniques? So gamification for learning is not just an entertainment. It can also be applied to learn new techniques by using various incentives to encourage people to explore new ways to doing things. How do I design my learning game effectively? How we can design the learning game effectively? Generally speaking, a learning game includes three things like a defined goal, a set of rules and a way of earn points. Ideally, it would also involve some sort of engagement from the user and be easy to comprehend while staying relevant to our end goal. So this is the gamification. So gamification is a great way to help individuals in the learning process and motivate them to perform better. Leaders can incorporate gamification into various objectives and activities and goals that need encouragement for better results. To learn more about learning and training, thus we do that. Many of the sources we have got. So again we just discuss about what is gamification in education. So when it comes in learning, we have to be focused and immersed. We can improve our experience massively. Gamifications offers a way to make education more enjoyable and fun as well as increasing productivity. So we are going to discuss how gamification can enhance a learning experience and offer some examples of gamifications. We will also look at some learning techniques and then incorporate the. So begin with the definitions of gamification again. Just we can define gamification as a strategy that implement game like elements into non-gaming activities to enhance engagement and motivation. Some videos games are made with the intention of captivating and entertaining players. It's not unusual to find ourselves fully immersed in a video game and feeling that one more level is never enough. But what is that make us invested in games? Video games have been linked to the production of dopamine, often dubbed the feel-good chemical which can lead to the addiction. So how can gamification benefit the education? Implement fun and rewarding elements to education has the potential to completely shape the way we learn. So how can we utilize gamification to benefit education? Many of us have become used to immediate satisfactions from social media, apps and games. With the dopamine release, we are used to form unhealthy habits. It can be tricky to stay focused on a productive activity. This is especially relevant to younger generations who tend to spend larger amounts of time on the internet. In fact, studies have shown that 55% of Gen Z use their smartphones for over 5 hours a day. By using a gamification learning approach, we can match the addictive bad habits and train students and learners to create satisfactions from learning. In a recent study, just shown that those who learn via gamified education method score higher marks than those who don't. Other studies suggest that although gamification improves learning outcomes, there isn't evidence to show that gamification drives engagement, motivation. The introduction of progress indicators can be extremely motivating for students. Pushing yourself can be far easier if we have a reachable goal rather than having one set goal to work toward, which can be daunting. Gamification encourages small wins that help motivate students. Gamification in education is also great for social learning, which can be used motivator in itself. There are apps and websites that give us the options to link up with the friends and compare, to compete against their scores, challenging we to learn the most. We use just fun. Gamification can change the mindset of learning being poured into something enjoyable that students look forward to. Educators are constantly working to find way to engage with young mind and learners. There are, of course, digital aspects to teaching and more modern approaches. However, Gen Z play a lot of game for fun outside of school. It only makes sense to incorporate what they know and are comfortable with into a learning environment. Control and encouragement. Gamified learning material can make students and learners feel more in control of their own education. With motivators like point systems and label, students have a means to work towards their goals in a way they understand and enjoy. Not only does gamified learning encourage students to feel as though they control their own destiny, but it also encourages them to try again after failing. In classic educational models, it can be quite demotivating for students. If they fail a task or don't reach their desired grade, rather than having an expected grade or outcomes that a student can fall points encourage building up to a level. This is a much more positive approach and creates a more supportive classroom culture. The fun nature of the gamification model can make it easier for students to visualize the way to try again and work up to their goals. E-learning. Gamification also goes hand in hand with e-learning. Online education platforms are a great way to carry out gamified learning. As we discussed in our blog post just about the adult industry, online education is there. E-learning has grown dramatically during recent years, particularly due to the pandemic and the need for online education alternatives, apps and websites and great hosts for gamification techniques, as they often smoothly incorporate things such as leaderboards and point system. Online learning is not always as engaging as physical classroom and comes with its own challenges. Online lectures and lessons can be tricky for young students, as it is harder to engage them and there are distractions all around. Gamification is a great way to make e-learning just as exciting as in personal learning or a person-to-person learning. If you are struggling to engage students in an online setting, our digital learning toolkit course is a great place to start. Our blended and online learning design course is also helpful for developing online teaching skills. Some disadvantages also of gamification in learning. That is not a fantastic, but although we can see that gamification is very useful method to tie with all the things, and we just require for the new technology. Gamification in education learning techniques. Gamification is often focused on rewards and goals. Just typically we can discuss discussed that these rewards are given when the audience carries out a desired outcome in the instance of learning, and the reward may be given once something new is learned. Using points of system can be extremely encouraging and making learning experience more enjoyable. They could be given out based on academic improvement, positive actions, or even successful collaborations. Points can be even more impactful if learners have a goal to work towards and something desirable as a result of earning their points. The customs add-ons in classcraft are a perfect example of a point system use. They can even be used as an alternative or to traditional marking in the classroom. The concept of points encourages the progress as it shows students that goals and grades can be gradually worked towards. Levels and progress bars. This is similar to the points method but offers a visual representation of a learner's progress. Levels can be determined by a learner's achievement and allows students to compare or compete with others. The concepts of level efforts and enforces the fact that progress can be made to reach goals, whereas traditional grading can make it trickier to see how progress can be achieved. The introduction of a progress bar can really help a student visualize their progress and push them even further. We could even have a class-wide leaderboard or a progress bar where collective achievement go towards a common goal. It's important to note that any class-wide leaderboards should be done sensitively. The idea of a class-wide goal is for all students to work together, and if done incorrectly, it could be demotivating for less academic students. Leaderboards could include behavior or achievements and effort to be more inclusive. When done correctly, a leaderboard should encourage more academically inclined students to help those who may be struggling. It should also push the less academic students to try their best as everyone will be working toward a common goal. Some fun of learning gamification in education. Using games in education to motivate to watch games. So educators have taken note whether it is as small as finding a game for a few students to play or as a large as asking all students in a state to come together and create a games. It is not a secret that games are a powerful way to motivate and facilitate learning. So when it comes to game in education, and there are two overall forms it can take that, like a games designed for entertainment being used in an educational settings. The second one is educators adopting features of game designed to enhance learning. So there is some overlap between playing a game and learning a concept. So consider, for example, the required of a video game level or the instant feedback that comes with being successful or not successful. So what is gamification in education? When educators talk about gamification, they are generally referring to the second form listed above. Gamification in education means that educators apply game, design, elements to an educational setting. The goal is usually to make learning more engaging. Breaking the concept of a game down into constituent game design element is tricky considering how vast the difference are among, say, chess, the sim and tag. There is a fact, a range of elements that games might have with different players being attracted to different elements. Gamification in education examples. Whether we can interested in games in educational or the gamification of education, there are examples that span everything from early childhood learning to undergraduate level concepts. We think about in our own products at HMH and use the principles of gaming to ensure that learning is fun. Some lessons stay in their zone of proximal development, similar to how when playing a video game, each level is designed to be just slightly more challenging than the previous one. Math 180 awards achievements to students, including for achievements rooted in displaying a growth mindset such as persisting of after failure. It also includes real world simulations and math focused video games along. Be found in Waggle 2 along with our maths program. While we pride ourselves in the games we have built, we are far from the only organizations to consider ways that games can promote learning in 2011. So gamification of learning, there is a one-size-fits-all approach to gamifying learning. If we are trying to make our next lesson more fun, consider what games and game features are best suited for our unique situations. So, do our students thrive on competitions? What about collaborations? Here are some ideas to up our classroom engagement factor. First is that we should create classrooms of tasks. If many of our students play games that let the player create characters, we could have our students create alter egos that they can personalize and build up. They can unlock clothes and modification by completing tasks or develop different skills sets such as engineer or historian, so that we can turn into custom projects. Sometimes we can give the award or badges. This can range from handing out simple printed badges after completing an assignment to having year-long online. Persisting through failure instead of simply rewarding good grades. Other point is that turn learning into class-based. We should give students agency and motivation by tuning learning objectives into quests. These can be solo quests For example, they can speak to the music teacher and collect 3 facts about like Italian music, and just or a class-wide quest. We can give the students options for which quest to go on to not only differentiate learning but also offer them more control over their learning. We could even create a class-wide quest board that encourages collaborations. Now other point is that connect the classic games to school subjects. Certainly plenty of we teachers have turned chapter reviews into quiz game show. But we can work with any games we have access to. Consider like modifying a property, acquisition games we like so that the properties are historical landmarks, or have students play a word game but reward certain categories of vocabulary words. Ultimately, the only limit is our imagination. What games do we play? What about our students? We think critically about what makes them fun and be on the lookout for ways to make learning fun too. So the impact of gamification of students' learning engagement and behavior based on their personality traits. The gamification of education can enhance levels of students' engagements similar to what games can do, improve their particular skills and optimize their learning. On the other hand, scientific studies have shown adverse outcomes based on the user's preference. The link among the user's characteristics, executed actions, and the game's elements is still an open question. Aiming to find some insights for this issue, we have investigated the effort of gamification for students' learning, behavior, and engagement based on their personality traits in a web-based programming learning environment. We have conducted an experiment for 4 months with 40 undergraduate students of first-year courses on programming. Students were randomly assigned to one of the 2 versions of the programming learning environment. A gamified version composed of ranking points and badges, and the original non-gamified version. We have found evidence that gamification affected users in distinct ways based on their personality traits. Our results indicate that the effect of gamifications depend on the specific characteristics of users. So, studying the impact of gamification on learning and engagement based on the personality traits for students. So, the key words of that: gamification, personality, programming, environment. Gamification of education is a strategy for increasing engagement by incorporation game elements into an educational environment. The goal is to generate levels of involvement equals to what games can usually produce. The main goals of gamification are to enhance certain abilities, introduce objectives that give learning a purpose, engage students, optimize learning, support behavior change, and socialize, stimulated by the effects that game elements can produce. Many researchers have looked into the influence to gamification in an educational context, getting favorable results such as the increase of engagement, users, retention knowledge, and cooperation. So despite that, some studies have shown uncertain or prejudicial results from gamifications. They found that ranking affects women in various ways and may guide to expected opposite impact. That informing addition to not increase the results, gamification decreases pleasure and motivation. We noticed that some users had adverse emotions about the badges. The mix of controversial results related to the effects of gamification in learning environments, yet doubts concerning the advantages of its utilization in an educational setting. Moreover, research about the effects of gamification elements of students' learning, participations, and other effects is a broad goal. The objective should be delimited to what elements of games are efficient for a particular type of student involved in a given activity. Different layouts of elements of games used to add gamifications to diverse activities produces different effects, hampering the process of determining which elements or collection of these elements are efficient to promote the engagement and learning for the group or type of user doing a specific actions. The motivation, player profile, and personality are the characteristics and preferences that have been most investigated in gamified learning environments. The user's personality is the set of characteristics and psychologically factors that are used to understand and how individually and interact we done. Personality traits refer to an individual's reactions to different situations, and little is known about how different elements of gamifications affect engagement based on the user's traits. Empirical studies are needed to verify whether the effect of gamifications may depending on users' personality traits. Codis and Rabbit researched through preference surveys how extroverts and introverts receive the gamification and discovered and adverbs affect the ranking on extroverted students and favorable but not substantial and introverted students. Extroverts choose the badges. On the other hand, that some found different results in which also through preference surveys identified that extroverted people are driven by the points, reviews, and labels by ranking, and found that users with low agreeableness who used a non-gamified version of a system had lower learning rates than those who used the gamified one. The previously found results were crucial for the conceptual comprehensions of the effects of gamification on personality, but they were only based on users' options obtained through questionnaires and in a short time. It is essential to conduct experiments to verify the real effects of gamification in learning involvement and over a long durations. We aim to study whether the gamification affects students differently depending on their personality traits. More especially, we aim to investigate whether distinct components and gamification affects students learning their programming, attitudes, trial and error behavior in the programming task, submission for corrections and engagement depending on their personality traits. In the contents of the programming learning, personality traits were selected because there is a lack of empirical studies in real environments. So method is that to participate, the participants were university students from 2 first semester classes in a computing course at a private university of the state. So measures is that we verified the change in engagement by the number of logins, badges, points and also the number of visualizations of the gamification elements. The grade is the course exam served to evaluate learning. The programming behavior was measured by the accuracy of the students and solutions submitted by the students for programming exercises. And some materials are to determine students' personalities. We have used that some self-reported measures composed of like 44 items and designed to evaluate the personality dimensions based on the big 5 personalities. So gamification elements implement are good for the students. Their points, badges and ranking describes the very high. So gamifications are very good for all the students and it is processed by using the elements in a non-game contents is many advantages over the traditional learning approaches by input. So in our modern method, technology is naturally a driving force behind the learning and the development of a curriculum. To achieve better results from learners, today educators are increasingly utilizing cutting-edge digital tools and strategies in their teaching methods. Gamification for learning is one of these strategies used increasingly by the TV teachers around the world. So using gamified elements can positively impact students' engagement and collaboration, allowing them to learn more efficiently as a result. So gamification psychologically is a field that studies the behavior of users in gamified system. In other words, we can say that focus on how to understand and influence the people behavior through gamification or gaming methods. Studies have shown that the brain works in harmony with the gamification and that is triggers the release of dopamine, which gives the players an increased feeling of motivation and enjoyment. So gamification connects the people on an emotional level. Emotions can be powerful tool for learning. They help facilitate encoding the retrieval of informations more effectively, making the learning process much more efficient. Gamification creates an emotional connections between the content and students. It is strongly influences the individual's attentions, which makes them more receptive to learning. Stories. Some hippocampus is the part of the brain that controls the amount of information we recall or remember. So it's not surprising that gamification helps the students retain better what they have learned during the class. Gamification stimulates the hippocampal memory, which helps promote the storage of new information into long-term memories. Moreover, dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked with learning and memory, is also released from the hippocampus, which helps maintain focus on a task. So stories are easier for the brain to process than facts. The brain processes stories more effectively than it does a string of facts. For this reason, storytelling in a fantastic way of delivering new information to the students. Gamification greatly benefits from using these strategies, as games often include storytelling elements such as background, characters, plot twists and more. So, game playing improve endorphin release. Endorphins are natural painkillers that improve relaxations, calm and focus. They are naturally produced by the body while playing games and performing other engaging activities. Gamification strategies improve endorphin release, helping to create an environment ideal for focused learning. Playing games keeps our brain healthy. So this is the pathway to increase cognitive skills such as memory and attention, enhance creativity and problem solving skills, and help the prevent age-related cognitive decline. So game-based learning make games part of the learning process. It is an instructional method where students learn specific skills or knowledge from playing an actual game. This type of learning takes educational content and transforms it into a game that students can play. On the other hand, gamification only makes use to game elements in a non-game context to enhance content comprehensions and promote better retention of information. The main goal is still to improve a student engagement, but gamification does not necessarily aim to teach them something new. So strategies in gamification of learning like point system, badges, leaderboards, challenges. The point system, assigning points for completing different tasks, can encourage the individuals to work hard. It also provides an accurate representation of their effort level to show how much they have progressed throughout the course or lessons. Badges. Badges are a fantastic way to acknowledge and reward people for their efforts. A badge is an award given in the form of a virtual object or a pinned image on our profile. It is a fantastic way to show that we value the hard work and effort put into the task. Leaderboards are great for creating competitions among the students, as they will want to see their name on top and work harder as a result. We can even create separate leaderboards based on different teams, dividing the individuals into smaller groups for better competitions. Challenges. A challenge is a task that requires an individual to complete something using their challenges can incorporate learning strategies such as problem solving, where individuals need to think outside the box to develop solutions. Other gamification techniques or strategies could include the elements of surprise to keep it exciting and allow users to unlock certain features or content in the game by completing a task. Fun fact, gamified healthcare apps are one way to distract children from the fact that they are undergoing medical treatment. Examples of gamification in learning. Gamifications helps improve the learning experience in many ways, whether it's through academic, industrial, or a business context. In this, we will take a look a few of the most practical ways we can gamify by the learning. So, thank you all.